So he was mostly concerned about this area with here, I'm assuming, just because that's the area we wanted to clean up. What I might do is this looks a little uniform through here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a stamp tool and grab some of this information over here, but I'm going to turn my opacity back quite a bit. So we're just adding sort of little pieces in there, and I'm just going to kind of just hit it a little. And just add a little bit to it here. Let's try that again. Just to add a little uniform, change the uniformity around just a little bit so it's not quite so similar to what it was. So that's looking, it's kind of hiding it a little bit. It's not perfect, but it wasn't perfect to start with. So now what we're going to do is come over to this gentleman over here. We have a Ferrari gentleman here. So we're going to kind of come in and just kind of eliminate him too, sort of doing the same things. We're just going to actually stamp him out. That'd probably be the easiest to do through here. Just make sure we kind of keep it even all the way down. And when you're doing stuff like this, a lot of times, there's many different ways you can do sort of the same thing. I'm just showing you some, just a way I was working on it. I haven't spent a lot of time. I didn't spend any time on this image ahead of time planning or anything like that. So this is, I'm just kind of jumping into it and showing you sort of the process I would go through to get this. So right now, here's what we have. We have basically the image, the original. Let me turn everything else off. So that's the original. So what we're doing is just basically isolating and getting rid of and things like that. So now we have this piece up here. We still need to work a little bit with that. I have it. Let's see. I think it's this layer right here. We have a mask already. So I'm going to go ahead and get my brush and start painting in here with a brush. Make sure we're on that layer here. Actually painting on the mask. And kind of soften that up just a little bit. And I don't mind the fact it's a little brighter. I kind of like the consistency with side to side. I'm guessing there was probably a light up there to start with, but it's probably hidden a little bit. So I don't mind it being shown here, kind of like what we did. So now what we have is we basically have this image. I'm going to go ahead and flatten this out. So we have all these layers here that I'm going to flatten down here. I did a shift click to grab all the layers. I'm going to merge these together. So basically that's one layer now. So any editing I do, or if I need to fix anything, I'll have to just go to that layer to deal with it. So now what we want to do is bring this girl back in, and then we have some of this going on. So what I'm going to do again is grab this layer that we're going to be working with and grab a mask, drop a mask on there. And I'm going to kind of come in here and kind of soften this up a little bit. So what we're doing now is we're kind of just making the edge transition a little less choppy. The problem is that it's probably hiding, it doesn't look as natural because basically the hair stops. It's such an odd look. Here you have the little phrase sticking up, and then here you have, obviously it's been doctored a little bit and doesn't quite feel right. There's one thing I've worked with a little before, and it's actually drawing in the hairs. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a new layer just by itself, and we're going to do some painting right on this layer. So I'm going to grab my paintbrush. I'm going to get it down pretty tiny because we're going to be working like super tiny, and I want to sample some of the hair colors in here. So what we're going to do is just come up here and just grab a color. So that's one of the colors we'll be working with. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to stay on 100% opacity for now, and I'm just going to come in here and kind of do some little stray hairs. And I know this probably doesn't look very good right now, so just bear with me. And then what we're going to do is actually change the color too. We're going to go ahead and pick a darker color just because typically people's hair is not the same. And just drawing in some hairs here. We're going to keep doing that, just kind of come up all the way across here, add some. And I'm going to change again, and we're going to resample some different hair here. Let's see if we can get something a little lighter. Let's just kind of bump it up a little bit. And we're going to kind of bring it down again. That's similar to the other color here. We're going to kind of bring it down here, kind of do the same thing so we have some squirrelies. And you're probably saying, oh my God, this does not look good. And it does not. I'll tell you that right now. So generally what we're going to do now is we're going to actually do another layer, do kind of the same thing again. Just kind of add some little squigglies in here, just coming off the head. And there's a trick to this that works really well. In just a second, I'll show you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually go to Gaussian Blur. So we'll work with the first layer. I'm going to turn that second layer off for now, and we're just working with this layer that's up right now. I'll zoom in here so you can see the effect a little better. So we have this pulled up. What we're going to do is go to Filter, Blur, and then Gaussian Blur. And then what we're going to do is pick a this is going to change depending on how big your file is, whatever size it is. You can basically keep it kind of sharp or take it really far and let it go really fuzzy. But generally I'll keep it, I want to kind of match some of the hair that's already here. As you'll see, some of these are kind of already fuzzy. So that's a pretty good look right there. That's about a radius of 4. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go ahead and turn this layer off and go to the next layer. Do the same thing. And we're going to go to Blur and then Gaussian Blur. And basically give that a blur too. Okay, so now we've added blurs to both of these, which you can kind of start seeing the effect here. It's still looking a little ratty, so here's what we're going to do. We have this layer selected. I'm going to turn that other layer off for a moment, and we're just working with this one that's up right now. And actually, just zoomed in, I can see a spot right here I need to fix. But so what we're going to do is, that's a little too bright, so we're going to just grab the opacity and bring that back. And when you start dialing it back, we can go ahead and pull the other one up now and do the same thing and just start pulling that back. And what that does is it creates the illusion of hair. And if it's too much, you can always go back in here and just mask it off too. So if you feel some of these are sticking out a little too far, all we do is drop on a mask, grab the paintbrush, and we can come in here and kind of clean this up a little bit. So if we've gone too far with some of these, it's kind of the old standby. Let's see, which layer are we on? So we can come to either layer and kind of just come in and just kind of clean these up a little bit. So we could take them back a little so we don't have to show them as much. Turn the opacity back a little. But you can kind of see where it starts. You can start cleaning it up a little and it starts looking pretty realistic. Some of those darker ones didn't work so well for me. But along here you can kind of see where you're starting to gain that hair back again, which is actually working out pretty good. So that's before and after. So it just kind of lets the hair come through, and it kind of does a pretty nice job. So that's basically that part of the image. What I would do now is I would come in here and just clean these guys up a little bit. Just hit our, I'm sorry, I'm on the healing brush right now. I want to go to just the healing brush, and what we're going to do is just sample next to the whatever we want to fix. So I'm going to hit the Option key, take a sample, and then we're just going to kind of come in here and kind of get rid of some little blemishes and things like that. And I know this lady pretty well. She has a mole here, so I'm not going to remove that. And we're just going to kind of keep coming in here and just kind of cleaning the skin up a little. Got some stuff going on here. We're just going to kind of clean that up a little bit. And then she's got some highlights in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to my stamp tool, and I'm going to go to about 12, 13% opacity. And then use a soft brush and a smaller brush. And just basically come in here and just kind of fill the highlights in. Give my computer a chance to catch up. And what I'm doing is just sample areas. I usually generally lighten under the eyes a little bit. A lot of people have kind of dark shadows under here. Pretty much almost everybody does. So I just kind of come in here and lighten those up a little bit. I'm going to lighten this up a little bit too. So I'm going to sample here and then just kind of come in here and just tap it a few times. And I'm kind of doing almost a machine gun style tapping here. I just kind of sample and then move in real tight. Now what I want to do is kind of get rid of some of the highlights in here, so I'm going to kind of do the same thing and just kind of come up in here. And I'm just hitting this multiple times trying to fill that in. And if we just to give you an idea, looking at the before and after, you can kind of see the job it does there, which does a pretty nice job. Let's slip back to the healing brush here. So that's kind of the image. I think it looks pretty good. Oh, let's get this area over here. I kind of meant to get that a minute ago. So to clean this up, it's actually on the layer, I believe. So I'm going to click on here, and we're just going to paint in the mask here. I believe that's where that's coming from. Yep. So that's where that kind of came through. So that's kind of the image. We have sort of a before and after. I'm going to go ahead and merge these all together here. Oh, actually, let me save that just in case I want to make any changes here. So what we have is basically this image, and we have kind of made it. I'm going to go ahead and just sandwich these together so you can see the difference. So we're going to merge those layers together. And I'm going to just turn it off so you can kind of take a look at the hair. We can always go in and, you know, edit those if we got too much of it. But we kind of didn't want to have all this flyaway hair to start with, so we kind of toned it down a little bit and brought some of that back. So hopefully that gives you some ideas on how you can manipulate the backgrounds and things like that, and use layers and layer styles to work and pretty much do whatever you need to make happen. And sometimes drawing hair back in is the easiest way as opposed to trying to separate it out. That's just one of the ways. There's other programs that will actually give you a better mask, so you can actually grab some of those stray hairs. But for this, I was okay just going ahead and bringing them back in the way I did. So hopefully that video helps you out and gives you some ideas. And if you have any comments, please shoot me a comment. I'll be happy to answer anything I can for you. Thank you for your time.